Yo, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Greetings from the planet North Carolina, representing Monumental Music, Monumental Media. It's your man Fuzz Jax. And to your right, my left, we have.
I go by the name of Bruise, Port City native.
What's up? I got my man Bruise in the building. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm fantastic, man. How about yourself, man? How you doing?
I am excellent. So, let's get things started. So just in case y'all didn't know, Bruise just dropped a new project called Man in the Arena, produced by Cool Out, correct?
Yes, sir. Man in the Arena, produced by Cool Out Sessions, entirely. Dropped on December 5th. And 10 joints, labor of love, lesson in lyricism, all the things, you know what I'm saying?
Any guest spots on this particular project?
Absolutely. We got guest appearances by Pete Grant. We got guest appearances by S. Lee. We got this kid by the name of Fudge Jax.
That's what I heard.
Y'all might have heard of him, but he's on there too, you know. Yeah, found him on the corner singing jingles. You know? I was like, hey, you want to be on the album, man? You know what I mean? Yeah, man, of course.
Hey, no problem, guy. No problem at all. So, question for you, man. So this is your first project, correct?
Yes.
Now, what was the inspiration behind this project?
The inspiration behind the project was simply to see if I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had no intentions on making an album, to be honest with you. You know, but people kept calling for it. You know, I had this thing that I do called Friday Bars that I do every Friday. I usually post it around 7 a.m. And people just kept calling for the album. I was like 2 months in, like, what album, man? Cool Out is hit me a what album, man, bro. I'm like, dog, I'm just starting this. Like, I don't even know what an album even means. You know, like with all things, when the time came, opportunity came, first person I hit up was Cool Out. And in Cool Out fashion, he always said, I got a beat back ready for you, brother. Y'all was just waiting on the word. And he sent over the joints, and I went through, found the joints that spoke to me and what I was trying to convey with this album. And it turned out beautifully, man, I must say.
That's what's up, man. Definitely a solid project for a debut project. I would definitely say.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, really, really dope. So with you doing that project, what setting the tone for you now? Are you thinking about doing another project, or is it kind of just, was it a one and done deal where you just wanted to see like, yo, I want to just see if I could do it, and just to say I did it? Not saying that in a negative sense, but in a sense of, hey, I just want to put this on the bucket list. It's something I wanted to try to accomplish.
Well, the way that I went about it and tackled it was, if this was going to be the only album that I did, then I wanted to put the best product out there that I could.
Right.
I wanted to talk about things that I wanted to talk about. Talk about the passing of my father on memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about where I'm from. On this joint called Southside. I always wanted a Reservoir Dogs joint where I just got a whole bunch of MCs to just go on the track. I got that with Interstellar. I always wanted a dope intro because growing up in the 90s, the intro was everything.
Yeah.
You know, it set the tone for the album and what you were getting ready to hear. Got that out the way. Always wanted to rap over one of those classic hip-hop beats. Again, with Southside, I was able to do that with classic Jungle Brothers joint.
Yeah.
So, you know, everything that I wanted to do, I got introspective with it, talked about the process going into making this album. I got into that, or Man in the Arena, and just there were just some joints that just went to go off, like Juggernaut and Zonin, and Fever is another joint that would be like a opening single joint. If I was like with a label, got that out the way. So everything that I wanted to do, I was able to do it with this album. So as of right now, I'm really not thinking about another album.
Right.
But the way that I look at it is, if I'm motivated to or inspired to, I definitely will.
That's what's up. And I think, excuse me, I think that you have gotten a really good reception from the project. Like, everybody's feeling it because, you know, we watch you every Friday.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We've all been seeing you grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate that. And Yeah, the only reason why I got into Friday Bars in the first place wasn't to make an album. It wasn't to be an artist. It was to have people like yourself and MCs that I look up to be like, yo, kid, you nice. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's the Grammy. That's the American Music Award because that meant everything to me as a kid. When your peers are like, yo, you nice.
Yeah.
You know, that's ultimate. You know, that does more for me than getting an award or anything like that or getting recognition from dropping the album. And furthermore, if what I'm able to write can inspire you or inspire other MCs to pick up the pen and do something, I've done my job. I feel that that's my purpose for even rhyming in the first place is to motivate other MCs that are really artists that are really doing this thing, you know, that have done it from the ground up. This is all they wanted to do, or this is all that they thought about doing. You know, I want to be that motivation for them.
That's what's up. That's very, very well said, man. Like that's really dope. And you know, excuse me, to have that type of perspective off of your first project is very, very meaningful. So salute to you for that. Yes, for sure. I want to kind of circle back for a second. What was the inspiration for the Friday Bars? Like, what kind of got you in the lock-in mode for that?
Yeah, well, the inspiration for Friday Bars actually started with a text thread. There's a rapper guy, though, super rapper, that was thinking about retiring. This is back in 2024.
Okay.
And I believe during that time, there wasn't a Billboard Hot 100 song from hip hop on there. Like
I remember that. Yeah,
that was a pretty dead year for hip hop.
It was.
On all accounts. So when he was thinking about retiring, I just kind of looked at him like he was crazy. Like what do you mean? And then I was looking around at the cast that were in my city, and I wasn't really hearing any music from them or any new projects. And I got angry. You know, angry more so at the fact that I was watching a culture that I love die right in front of me, right? So it started out as a text thread. I was just conjuring up just 16s. I didn't know what I was doing back then. I mean, that was really the first time I ever put any 16s together in my life.
Right.
And, you know, my only hope was that either A, he would hear how trash I was and become inspired to write, or maybe I might have said something that would inspire him to write. You know, either way, I'm like, dog, you don't want me out here rapping. You know what I'm saying? You don't want me out here with these bars. Man. Like, get in the studio, man. And what ended up happening was some of the stuff that I was saying, he was like, yo, that went bad. And I was like, what?
Right. He was like, oh, word?
Word? So then it turned into an exercise of what would this sound like on a social media platform. So July 5th, 2024, I sat in my Hyundai Elantra, nervous as all get out, probably the hottest day of the summer. And I just conjured up some Friday Bars to put it out, and that was the genesis of it. And from there, it was like, okay, let me see if I can do it again the following week.
Yeah.
And when I started this, I put the asterisks out there. I'm not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing this as like an MC. You know, just doing it out of fun. But then it turned into, well, can you do it again next week? And can you do it again next week?
Yes.
And then it's like, it didn't become about having fun anymore. It was about, can you conjure up some bars and do it every Friday?
You
know? So from there, it just kind of snowballed into what this whole thing has become. And by the grace of God, each week I progressed more the more I was doing it, the more I was writing. The first 4 months, it was all off the top. I didn't write anything down. And things really started to take off when I started writing things down. And I was able to look at what I was writing and see, well, this goes here or that goes there and all that stuff. And that's when things started to take off. So that's where the whole genesis came from, just trying to help my guy not retire because he's so dope and he's so talented, and I didn't want him to go out like that. I looked at it as a waste of his gift, and I, as his friend, couldn't stand by and just watch it happen. So I had to do something. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it all started.
So you actually were like kind of like the pep squad / pep rally kind of behind your partner, Paul.
Yeah,
like you was really like on some shit like, yo, I want to make sure this guy doesn't give up what I know he's good at.
Yeah, because he had been in the game for so long, and like with anything that you love, you know, you have your fun times in it, but then you become discouraged when it doesn't yield the results that you're looking for. And he got to that point, so much so to the point that he was like, yo, I'm done with it. And I hated seeing him like that.
Right.
You know, because I'm like, dog, you stupid nice. Like, like, what are you doing on the sideline here? Like, you dumb nice. So from that lens, I was like, let me just try something. Just try it. Just to see whether or not it would even work for him. So, yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, in those particular situations, things like that happen for a reason. You know what I mean? So you were supposed to be the catalyst for that, and him slacking and you picking it up and running with it, picking the torch up and keeping it lit was a catalyst for you to step in and do what you do.
Yeah,
you know?
And the beautiful thing about it is when he got back into the booth and I could hear the fire in his belly again. Pause. I don't know what that's a pause.
That was crazy.
Or not, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know whether that goes. I felt it was needed. You know what I'm saying? I felt it was needed. But, you know, he had a hunger about him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what he was spitting was just super wild. And that's what warmed my heart the most. Not so much of the fact that I did anything. It was just the fact that he was back at it.
Right.
And he didn't give up on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. You know, it's crazy because at the end of the day, being lyricists, you know, we all talk that shit like we don't care about this and we don't care about that. But sometimes the stresses of what rappers should be or what rappers are expected to be or what rappers turn out to be is so overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes people don't get it, whether you're famous or not.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of understand what your man was going through, because a lot of times you feel like that. I mean, you haven't gotten to that, and hopefully with your energy you won't ever feel like that. But there's times where I have felt like, man, I don't want to do this no more.
Oh no, don't get it twisted. I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was about 2 months in.
And you was about to tap out?
Yeah, a couple of things.
Shit.
Couple of things happened, right? So the first Friday bars that actually took off was this joint by Big L called Platinum Plus.
Yeah.
That was the first joint that like actually caught the attention of people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as humans, you know, we like to know that what we're doing, you know, it's contributing to something, and the feedback feels good. But then it comes to a point where the newness wears off, right? Because they see you up here every Friday and you're doing these bars.
They get comfortable.
Yeah, they get comfortable with it. And familiarity breeds contempt. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when that happened, I was like, man, you know, then it start getting to your own head, like, man, people ain't really tuning in for it like that. And people ain't really commenting like that. And then it got to a point to where I was listening to instrumentals and I was struggling to come up with stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this is when I was still going off the top, like trying to do it. And there were plenty of times where I got discouraged. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I even want to do this anymore. Like, this is wild and difficult. But, you know, when you from the Port City, man, you just don't give up like that. You know, you something in you just encourages you to keep fighting and to keep going at it. I'm the type of individual that I got to see it through to the end in order for me to say, you know what, okay, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And I believe that at that point, I wasn't at the end of it yet. So during those 2 months, it was a real struggle. And then you kind of like get some rest, get some sleep, and all of a sudden the words start coming again. You know what I'm saying? And then you make it to, then it's about making it to the next week. Okay, I'm making it to the next week. Then it got to a point to where I'm writing 2 or 3 a day. and I'm doing like 2 Friday bars a Friday. So then it got to that point. So and then it just kept snowballing and snowballing and snowballing, and it grew into what it has become. You know what I'm saying? But there were plenty of times. Souls of Mischief freestyle that I did, I recorded that 20 times. Because because I just couldn't get the cadence and the wording right. I kept missing words, and I got really frustrated doing that. Freestyle. Really frustrated.
Yeah, that beat's kind of fast too.
Yeah, so I think that's the fastest beat I've ever done outside of like Warm Up Cade or something like that.
Yeah.
So here doing that and going through that, yeah, I got discouraged for sure.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, damn. Like sugar free. Damn, I didn't know that. And that's kind of a, I don't know. I guess in certain perspectives, you can kind of say it's good that you got to it early and you kind of got that feeling early, and got out of it. Because some people that have been rapping for years and years and years, man, get that feeling and don't get out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think the thing for me was at that point I still wasn't taking it seriously, so it's like. That was always out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, you know, if you ever feel tired of it, you could just quit. And then there's something to be like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah, because you created like a little following. Like a lot of us look forward to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, then you got people like, yo, keep going, you know, can't wait for the next Friday. I'm like, now I gotta keep going.
It was like the mob. Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, you know, I try to get out, you pull me back in.
Pull me back in.
You know? So, yeah, man, like I said, there were plenty of times where I wanted to give up and quit, but
not do it.
Yeah, but I think the thing that kept me in it was MCs like yourself, MCs like P. Grant, just their feedback, which is like, man, shout out to P, man.
Yeah, incredible artist.
Oh my god, and cats like him, they were just like, man, you really got something. You know, I'm really getting inspired from you. Like, I'm really thinking about picking the pen back up. And I'm like, whoa. You know, it's just little stuff like that when you're on the break kind of gives you the motivation to keep going.
Yeah, man. So, that's it, you know. Speaking of motivation, out right now on all streaming platforms.
Like I did that. Right?
That was nice, man. That was
like
nice.
I did.
Video available on YouTube right now, ladies and gentlemen.
What's my motivation?
Shout out to my homegirl, Carrie.
Guys, cool out.
For shooting that and cool out, Jesus Christ. So you know, I think with the transformation of local hip hop and how it's kind of changing, and now you're having more options now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because for a while, everybody was kind of doing the same thing, and a lot of people weren't putting out music. But I think now the beauty of the Port City hip-hop scene now is that we have a lot more artists, and there's a lot more variety.
Yeah.
But my question for you, though, you know, I always see people put, like, you know, list up for their favorite local artists, and a lot of cats talk about different rappers in the area. Some I know a lot of, some I really don't. Yeah. Some I've heard, you know, whether I heard their music or heard their name before.
Yeah.
But you know, everybody has their favorites in their list of favorite MCs around the area.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I was just talking to somebody about this recently, and a lot of cats, you know, a lot of cats are like street cats that grew up from the area, from Port City area, that rap or whatever. And you also got rappers like me who aren't from the Port City, but represent the Port City, but just rap on a different type of topic level, per se. Do you think there is a huge division amongst the two different types of styles in the area? Do you think it's a situation where nobody's really thinking about, and when I say this, I don't mean this in a negative sense, like nobody's just really thinking about hitting nobody up to do, because I really feel like there's so much talent as far as, especially there's talent all over Port City, all music, all genres, right?
Thanks.
But for hip hop, there is a untapped talent.
Absolutely.
And a lot of us are missing the bus, including myself, because I just don't know a lot of street cats that spit, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not from that world.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I'm not from the early days of Port City like that, so I can't tell you,
Yeah.
you know, about the early days of the turkey bowls and
Yeah.
all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I was just wondering, so with you being from here, do you see a big disconnect? And if you do see it, is it purposely orchestrated or is it just accidental?
I think it's accidental. I think with everything, life kind of just gets in the way with a lot of it. I don't know how it's been going for you, but life is like moving. The older you get,
It's quicker,
the faster life moves.
Yes.
You know, and you incorporate other things like a job and obligations you might have to have, and you know, if being an MC isn't garnering the type of revenue that you want to see, you know, then you got to do other stuff.
Yeah,
And
for
that
sure.
profession kind of like comes down a notch from what makes it to your priorities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think everybody is just kind of doing their own thing, trying to figure it out, and trying to stay afloat, man. Just trying to stay alive in this life, and just deal with it the best that they can. You
It's
know,
a very good answer.
but whenever we have gatherings and right
You sound like we
yeah, you know,
like we about to make spells.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know,
Come to the gathering.
you know, whenever we get
I know
together,
what you're saying, functions.
yeah, whenever we get together and do these hip hop shows, and I see these artists come out and the fire in the eyes and the passion that they have, it lets me know that even though life is moving as fast as it is, they still have a love for lyricism.
Yeah.
And for me,
For sure.
that's the biggest thing for me that I love. You know
Love
what
for
I'm
the
saying?
game, yeah.
It's just a love for the game. I love rap. You know what I'm saying? I love the rappers rapping.
Yeah.
You know, because it's what I grew up on. When you talk about artists like Big Daddy Kane, and you talk about artists like Rakim, KRS-One, Chuck D, all these, even cats like Heavy D for me. And Kwame was a dope lyricist. Like Wise Intellect for Poor Righteous. All of these cats that are in it, you get to your Nas, your Bigs, your Jay-Z's, and all, the list goes on, right?
Right.
You know, I'm just a fan of lyricism. It's what I grew up on. It's what I wound up loving, and it's what I live for. I love hearing the MCs MC. So whenever we have these get-togethers, these functions for these hip-hop shows, and I see these ciphers, and they come up to freestyle and all of that stuff, the fire is still there. The passion is still there.
For sure.
You know, so it lets me know that they're working, but sometimes, man, life be life too.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that, you know, excuse me, for years I came up with the term blue collar MC.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of us, you know, are working 9 to 5s, and still trying to have a balance with the art and loving the art and creating art.
Yeah.
You know, and so there are times where stuff is really hard, especially when you're doing shows and like me, you trying to do out of town shows, you trying to do this, you trying to work 2 jobs and
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of us are doing it for the love of the game.
Absolutely.
You know, there's no benefits with this shit. Like there's no 401k.
Yeah.
And like all,
you gotta
you know,
love it.
You gotta love it to be doing it.
Yes.
But I think it also takes big balls to sacrifice everything for a love of something that you know you're not going to be a millionaire from.
Absolutely.
You know, and for me, the millionaire part of it is not the skill set; it's the choice.
Absolutely.
It's the choice of not getting caught up in the bullshit that's out there. You know, so, and also too, man, like rhyming for your peers is dope.
No, absolutely.
Like people sleep on that shit, and like, you know, I don't know if it's because we live in a small town and we are really just happy, just all kicking it when we all see each other and stuff like that. But man, like some of my favorite rappers are my homies.
Yeah.
Some of the only dudes that can keep up with me on the mic are my homies.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it's like, to me it's dope when somebody that is equally talented as me tells me that I'm dope, because I know the work they put in and they know the work that I put in.
Yeah.
So it's a big respect. So
yeah.
I admire the fact that you came in doing your first project with that type of mindset, whereas I didn't even have that.
Wow.
With my mindset. Like my mindset was like, yo, I'm gonna get rich.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy a Corvette.
Wow.
Like I was young.
Wow.
I was way younger than you when I got turned on and almost got like a major position, like a deal or whatever. But like, I was young, man, and I had all these visions of doing this stuff, so I never had the humility. And maybe that's why, you know, I got an early reality check of how this shit plays out.
I get you. Well,
you know?
Well, the thing for me was, you know, I still viewed myself as an outsider when I was doing the album. And the number one thing for me was, if I was going to put out an album, I did not want to embarrass the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be Boris Cujo's character in Brown Sugar. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got lyrics on my beat, you know, and then this drunken set. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I love and respect the culture so much.
Right.
That before I do that, I would just bow out. So with that fear in mind, because that was my biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest fear was that I would drop this album and my peers would be like, yo, what you doing?
Right.
They go back to delivering supplies or something. Man, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? That was my biggest fear. So, you know, I didn't want to let my peers down, and I didn't want to let down me and my love that I have for the culture. So that's why I tackled it the way that I did. It's like, okay, if you're not trying to get rich off of this album, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a timepiece to where if MCs need motivation and they're looking for it from a local standpoint, they can come back to Man in the Arena and they can get that inspiration from there so that they can keep going with their careers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the mindset that I have from it. I knew when I dropped it, I wasn't going to get rich. I wasn't going to be catapulted into this superstar status.
Right.
You know, I felt that the job that needed to be done got done. The job is finished. Shout out Black Mamba. And you know what I'm saying? Job was finished. You know, first of all, I was happy and content with it. And hearing the feedback from y'all lets me know that, yeah, it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, man, a very great project that shows a lot of like definitely very positive introspective look on somebody putting a project out for the first time. Not only doing that, but having the love for the game like a veteran would. Yeah. And I think that's the one thing I admired about your project.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can feel the love that you have for this culture and for the music especially through each and every one of these songs. And I can tell that each song is just as important as the last song that was played.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Salute to you for that.
Thank you, man. It just goes back to how I grew up. Sequencing, track listing was just so important. You know, it's how it shaped your listening experience. You know what I'm saying? So each joint is supposed to take you on this journey to where it has you looking forward to what was next.
Right.
You know, I just wanted to just curate the music that I grew up loving. You know, that's it. You know what I'm saying? We not chasing singles here. We not chasing no bags. You know, just for the love of the game. And we gonna do it the right way. We gonna represent hip hop the right way, the way that it's supposed to be represented, to where people can become inspired by what you're doing, you know, and that they can carry on tradition, you know, which is basically what I'm doing. I'm just learning from the people that came before me and how they gave my listening experience. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to provide that too.
That's what's up, man. Well, you did a hell of a job, man.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you stopping in.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Bruise in the building, Fudge Jax. Hey, let them know where they can find you at, bro.
You can find me on IG, Bruise910. You can find me on Facebook at Leroy Bunton Jr. You can also find me on TikTok, Organic Soul Brother. Every Friday, 7 a.m., I do these Friday bars. If you haven't heard Man in the Arena, it's available now on Bandcamp. All you have to do is type in Bruise, Man in the Arena, and the album comes out. Again, it's a labor of love, lesson in lyricism, and I hope you enjoy that project, man. And as always, man, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, man, you already know how we do it, because you already know.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
One of the nicest guys in the world, man. Y'all support this brother. And every Friday, he's got bars on deck. So please support this young guy, man. For real, for real. Manny Arena out. Go to Bandcamp and get it.
Yes,
If you do not remember and you know me, hit me up and I will send you directly to this guy's page. Please support this guy, man. Please support artists locally, especially artists that have love for the game and what we do, because this shit is not easy
at all.
We may make it look easy and make it look good, but this shit is fucking hard.
Absolutely.
All right, so yo, from my heart to your homes, Fuzz Jax in the building. It's monumental. Welcome to Jaxxonville. Bruise in the building. We will talk to y'all later. I don't know why I'm doing this, but we will talk to y'all later. All right, peace.
Peace.